The purpose of this exercise is to improve your ability to shift your hips up and down rather than bend your knees as you transfer your feet when walking. You'll need a 3-inch yoga block for this. Put your right foot on the block. It's more important that your heel is on the block than anything else. Your toes can hang over, that's fine. Make sure both feet are straight. The edge of the block can be an objective straight line for you. You can lift your floor foot heel, keeping the toes on the ground. Make sure you keep the outside edge of your foot straight as well. Allow your floor foot heel to hang toward the ground, but do not bend the knee on the block side. Your floor foot heel will not necessarily reach the ground, but as you allow it to sink toward the floor, you'll notice resistance in the fascia of your hips. The purpose is to make more space in your tight fascia for the diagonal shift of your hips up and down. The second part of this exercise involves activating the inner thigh of the block side leg. Push into the block through the inner thigh to lift your floor foot off the ground. It's much harder than it sounds. You don't want to recruit the muscles of your floor side hip to do this job, and you'll know you did that if you fatigue on the floor side hip. You may find a really strong desire to bend the block side knee. Do not do that. Keep the block leg straight. The reason this is so difficult is because of how often we sit. Our inner thighs are not asked to work. We want to wake up the motor skill that has gone to sleep. It's normal to feel it on the outside of the block side hip, but make sure your kneecaps are facing forward in external rotation, so your femurs, the upper leg bones, are lined up properly in the hip joint. It can help when you're learning to do this to place a hand on the wall for balance. Poor alignment occurs when we're walking, and rather than shifting our hips up and down, we bend the knees instead. The hip list exercise improves the strength of your inner and outer thighs to balance on one foot while transferring your opposite leg forward. The hip list also allows you to keep the back leg straight while you shift your hips to lower your forward heel to the ground rather than bending your knees. This, combined with the calf stretch, contributes toward your ability to keep your back heel on the ground as long as possible with every step you take, so that your hips move and you squeeze the lymph nodes in your groin, and your thighs and knees aren't recruited to do the job of your hips.